What are you doing in my Porsche? Why are you back here in the motor? What? Why? Why are you here? Oh, I know why. You're here to check out some more cool Porsche DIY videos. Well, today, I'm not going to disappoint you. So this whole lockdown, whatever thing that's been going on, I've taken this opportunity to rebuild the front suspension of what I can on my 1967 Porsche 912, 911 front end. And I want you to come along with me. Now, don't let the hat fool you. I do things a little bit different than your normal YouTubers, but I get the job done, and I get it done right. So, first thing we're going to do in this video is we're going to tear down the front suspension. I'm going to show you how to take out the shocks, take out ball joints, tie rods, how to assemble rotors and front hubs. All that we're going to go through in this video and show you how to do it if you have an early 911 or 912 Porsche. If you don't, heck, stick around and enjoy the video and learn a thing or two about it in case you happen to grab one. And if you do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button down below, give me a thumbs up, and hell, share this video out with your friends, let everybody else know that you're a Porsche guy like me. And we now have I Drive a 9 t-shirts coming, so check that link below so you can grab yourself a t-shirt. Now, why don't you get out of there and get to the front of the Porsche so we can take care of stuff. Come on, come on, come on, get out, out! Oh, fine, stay there, I'm going to the front. Alright guys, first thing we need to do is we need to get the Porsche up on jack stand. So if you don't know how to do this, I'll link to a video up there with the link to our how to jack up your Porsche 911, 912, and 930, your air-cooled 901 Porsche. And here's Sierra, the shop dog, getting in my way, constantly in my way. She's a fun puppy, but definitely gets in the way a little too much at times. So, okay, all right, go away. Come on, let Dad work. Let Dad work. Man. All right, so we're just going to get this wheel off real quick. This is a Father's Day present from my wife. Thank you so much, darling. I always love to get my first cordless impact. So let's get this wheel off, and let's get into taking care of some business here. All right, now pull this wheel. Off she comes. I love those flat Fuchs. I love that rim. All right, so kind of pull this towards us. We need to get all the bolts off. We're going to take the caliper off. There's some 19s in the back. So let's get to pre-soaking this stuff real quick. So the night before you start this project, or even a couple of days beforehand, get in there and get yourself some Pussy Blaster, or PB Blaster, as we call it, and get in there and hit all the bolts that we're going to be taking off. So that's your sway bar up there, and then all your tie rods, ends, and of course back into there for your sway bar drop link and your ball joint. So we'll get in there and we'll just hit it with some PB. That way it makes everything a little bit easier to get out of there. 17 mil on that. Take the caliper off. Alright, so we've got this off. Now we need to get in here, and there's a Allen head right there that we're gonna have to undo and then unscrew this, and there's a washer there, and that'll take off. That way we can get this whole hub assembly off of here. So let's go get our Allen wrenches and let's take this off. Got it in there, and then we're just gonna undo it. This here just unscrews. Well, that's what she looks like. Okay, so let's set that aside. Then inside here is a washer. Here's that washer, that thrust washer. And you can see there's a groove right here where it has a little tongue. So just get in there, just kind of pull it out. Get it working. And then you can slowly take it all out. Oh, and there's your bearing. Came out with it. So all right, let's take this hub off of the spindle. Okay, and there's our spindle. Okay, for now we're just going to leave that aside. Here's our bearing. We'll go and clean that up here in a minute and see what that looks like. So for now, we're just going to drop it back in there. And there's that washer. That little tab on there, see that? That's that tab that goes in right there. Okay, we'll put that back over here as well. Next thing we're gonna do is take off the bolts that hold on the dust shield. So let's grab those real quick. Now's a good time to get your PB and hit those. And there are some on that back side that you'll need to spray again on both sides. So those two there, and then the two there for the back side that hold on the dust plate, dust shield, takes a 14mm. We'll go ahead and take them off the back side of there. took it completely off. And again, yours might be different, but mine was 11 millimeters on this side, 14 on this side. But as you can tell, we'll just move this around. That's how it slides on. And then you can just start to back it off. So this is your caliper bracket. This is where your caliper bolts up to go around the disc. These bolts here, if you look closely, they have tab overs to keep the bolts from backing out. So you're going to take a screwdriver and you're just going to bend them back, and then you can take these off. So let's get a screwdriver and let's take those off. So you're going to take a screwdriver, and you may have to use a little hammer to get that up and in there. Okay, so we bent back the tabs that over the tab into those all the way around, as you can see. Now we're just going to take a 15 millimeter and we're going to pull this brake caliper bracket right off. All right, and now that takes off the brake caliper bracket. And we're going to put that aside over here. Okay, there we go. That is our exposed spindle. Now at this point, we're probably going to start to take the tie rod off. So down here, there's a castle nut that needs to come off. And then we're going to take our separator and pop this and also this. So let's go ahead and soak these one more time with PB, and we'll get in there and take that off. So there's a pin, as you can see right there, there's the end of it, those two tabs. You're going to take those and peel them back, and then on the back side of here, pull that off. So let me get in there and pull those two tabs out straight, and I'll show you what to do next. See those two tabs? Reach in there. Pair of needle noses. Come on. Kind of squish them together. And then we're going to have to get into that back side. Okay, so I pulled the pin out from the other side here. And that's a cotter pin. That's what it looks like. So that side, you just pull it out. And so now that's free down there. So I believe that is a 15 millimeter. And you can see how bad our tie rod end is here. 15 millimeter, let's go ahead and get that off of there. Okay, now that's off. So you can see there's a hole where that cotter pin goes through. And then this here is the castle nut. See, it kind of looks like a castle. So that's how that comes off. Now we need to separate from the pitman arm to the tie rod. We need to split that, so we need a special tool. And just like that, that's how that works. So as you can see, it is now off, and this just falls on the floor. That's it. Okay, that's freed up now. So that just kind of spins around on that ball joint. So let's get this off now. Let's get in there and take that off and see if this will spin off real quick. So just a talk about these tie rods. This is your tie rod assembly. So there is a fork down here that goes into the steering rack, which has another bushing in there that we're not going to replace today. But you could replace that as well. This is the fork, this is the rod, and here's your tie rod end, this is your outer end. This is what we're going to replace. Unless we have an issue with this and this cracks and breaks. Because remember now, this is 50 years old, and a replacement, these usually run, you know, $30, $40. These can run you several hundred, depending on if you go original Porsche, and they're not going to be this design. This was the 1960s design. They moved up to a more nut controlled instead of a clasp control. But just a little bit of word on that. So if we can't get it here, we'll have to take it off from back there and replace this whole thing. So let's find out what happens. Okay, so we just took two 13 millimeters and pulled that out. And let's see if we can't free this up. I want you to listen to the noise when I move my steering rack and tell me if that's normal or what needs to happen with that. Hopefully you heard that on the video. So since we removed both those points, this will spin out. This was just not going to spin out for us. So we'll just take this all the way off and get it out of there. So as you can see, they go different directions. It is. So as you can tell, I took the tie rod, which wouldn't come off the car. I took the entire rod off from the inside, and then I put it in my vise. And now that it's secured and I've added some heat to it, a little bit of PB to it, you can just simply unscrew this one and then screw in the new one. And before I took off the old one, I counted the threads. And there were 4 threads here, and on this side over here there were 4 threads or 5 threads here. That's close enough to get us in the ballpark for when we're all finished. We can take it to the alignment shop and they can make it precise. So just a few more turns here on this. It's a long boy, and almost there. There it is. That is one old tie rod end. And that's one inside. So it's threaded, and you can see it's kind of a split to where this clamp then clamps it down on top of that. So that's how you get the outer tie rod off your tie rod if it won't come off. And after 50 years, it just would not come off on the car. Now, if you're replacing the entire thing, you also have to take it off over here under the car or pull your entire steering rack, however you wish to do it. All right, so let's move on. Okay, next we need to get the bolts that hold on the strut to the ball joint holder, the pitman arm, undone. And just like before, there's those little safety tabs like we had up here. Now, see the safety tabs? There's 3 of them. 2 that go up, right there. Hopefully you can see that. And then 1 that goes down. So you need to lift those up on all 3 of them. There's 1 back there. There's 3 of them. Go ahead and move those tabs with your screwdriver, and then you can unbolt those. You can see I've bent that tab down. This tab is up, And then this middle tab here, we'll get ready to get underneath there and lift that up. Okay, so we've now got those tabs pushed up, so we can then go in here and pull them off. Let me show you this real quick. So that's that little tabs that you have to bend over in that bolt. And so you have 3 of those. But before I go ahead and take off those other 2, I want to go up top into the frunk and loosen the bolt on top of the strut. Let's do that now. Okay, so up here, that is where the top of that strut goes. That bolt there, that Allen key, and then those 2 back there, that adjusts your toe and camber. And then that one right there in the middle is what holds your strut top into the mounting bracket. Now that's a 22 millimeter bolt, and the only way you're gonna get that off is with an impact. And that was the whole point of my wife buying me this Bauer impact, cordless impact. So far so good, I'm enjoying it. It is a Harbor Freight product, but we have a Harbor Freight just down the road from us where we live at. Remember, we're in rural Arizona, so not a big city, but kind of by the big city. Anyways, 22 millimeter goes onto here and zip that off. Okay, there's that nut. Kind of just set this down here for a minute. And then, uh-oh, there's no, there it is. So that's, if I remember correctly, oh, there's that. That should be that way, not that way. Interesting, I believe it's supposed to go up. So we'll go ahead and just put that aside. And then, this is your actual bushing in there. And so all that will come out when we go to push this. Oops, see, it's already going down. All right, so let's get back underneath there and remove that strut tower. Okay, we're back down below. We're gonna go ahead and take off those other 2 bolts that are holding on our spindle and our strut, and we'll get that out of the way. So let's get those 2 out. Okay, all 3 bolts are out. And now we're gonna be able just to pull that out. So this is gonna lift up and out. May have to give us some persuasion. There it is. Just needed persuasion. There it is. It's out. And there's a pin right here. So there she is. Let's get that out. Kind of want to show you up here. Part of our bushing is still in there. I have to get a screwdriver and get that out of there. Alright, there's our ball joint. And again, there's a castle nut, and then you can see right there is the cotter pin. And from what I can tell, when I did the other side, these very well could be original parts. Yeah, it's highly likely. So let's get in there and let's pull off that cotter pin. Let's undo this castle nut. Let's get a look at that ball joint. Kind of give you an idea of how this works. It's pretty simple, but I know if you've never done it before, it may be a little intimidating. But you're just gonna work that out. So I can get you in here. And just keep pulling it and pulling it and pulling it until she comes out. Okay, see if this works. There it is. Take some more PB and just get in there. And while we're here, might as well just another round. Alright, so let's get this taken off first. So in order to get this bolt out, it looks like we're going to have to need to apply pressure underneath here because this drop link obviously is holding up this part of this A-arm and the weight of it. But underneath here, if you can see it here, there are two, come this way, there are two castle nuts, again with those cotter pins that need to come out. So undo the cotter pins and let's get these bolts loose. Okay, 19 millimeter on those and just zip them off. There's one. Two. Alright, so we've applied our floor jack just to give this a little bit of pressure here so we can get this bolt out. So then we can get those two bolts out there. So let's go ahead and get this one out and then we'll take off this top sway bar link. And then by using a rubber mallet, you can come in under here and knock out those two bolts to get them up. Okay, now just go ahead and we'll pull that off and all that should come off. Okay, then we'll pull this bolt out, kind of a long one. And then this here should come out that way. This should come out that way. There's your drop link. Put it down. Then those two bolts. There's that. And then release the tension on the jack. And this ball joint should slide out. There it is. Okay, last few things is to pull off the sway bar mount and pull out the sway bar. Let's do that next. This here shouldn't spin, but I've taken it off the other side, so it's going to spin a little bit. There's 13 millimeters on both ends, and there's two plates on both ends. And if you notice, take a look at the thickness here. It's about a millimeter or so that the actual sway bar sticks out of this arm. Let's keep that in mind. So 13 and 13 millimeters on both sides, and this will pop off and we can pull this whole thing out. Okay, up we go. A little bit of wiggling on this. And this should just pop off. Come on. There it is. She's off. Okay, add that to our parts. Next, we just have these 13 millimeters that hold on the actual sway bar bracket and the bushing. We'll get those three off and we'll pull this off. Okay, all three are undone, and these are what they look like. There's three of those. And then we're taking the whole bar with us. And this here, we can just pop that off, and there's that rubber bushing that actually has a split in it. You can kind of see right there. That splits apart and it comes off. So we're just going to remove this. This is our actual sway bar. And we have officially torn down both sides of our 67 911 912 front suspension. Now what I'm going to do is take some time while I'm waiting for parts to arrive and clean up as much of this as I can, scrape this out, get this all sanded down, and reapply some more undercoat to it, kind of freshen it up a little bit. And I might even shoot a little bit of new undercoat in here to make it look pretty. All right, this wraps it up for how to disassemble the front suspension on your early Porsche 911 912. And let's clean this all up. Yeesh. I think it's margarita time, guys. All right, thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed this video, please, I just beg you, well, not beg, but appreciate you subscribing, the link below, and keep watching for when we put this all back together. All right, talk to you soon.